Turtle Rock really turned co-op shooters into a whole new world of top-notch multiplayer when they brought us Left 4 Dead on Xbox 360. It's rightly one of the most popular games, one of the best-selling games on the system. And since then, we've been anticipating what they might do next. And thankfully, we've got Evolve coming to Xbox One. Again, just turning co-op shooters on its head, adding in a new element of a sort of fifth player who gets to control a monster throughout. And what we're seeing here is essentially just one live playthrough from Turtle Rock. And we highly recommend you check out this video from the developer directly, as you can manually switch between camera angles and basically watch the footage however you want to watch it, with the developers talking over the top. But since we've actually played this here ourselves, we thought we'd talk you through it as well. So Josh, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so Evolve, as we sort of briefly touched on, is a game that puts you and 3 other hunters into various exotic landscapes. The only one we've seen so far and the one that we've played is this jungle level that also has like a mining facility sort of slapped onto the back of it. So you and these 3 other hunters, you helicopter down. You basically need to navigate through the jungle, sort of avoiding other enemy threats. So there's NPC-controlled monsters and little packs of enemies that you can sort of avoid entirely or kill for power-ups. And basically try and track this monster as it goes through its earliest stages of evolution, as obviously the name suggests.
Yeah. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at the hunter viewpoint, one of the hunter viewpoints?
So I mean, right now we've got, Monster, obviously, basically what he's trying to do from the start of the game, so you basically get skill points, you put those skill points into a variety of basically power attacks, so you can breathe fire.
Like a speciality of some kind.
It's very much like the specials from Left 4 Dead, actually. Like they're all sort of elements of each one of the specials has been taken in and put into the monster, so you can throw rocks, you can do like a devastating like charge attack, you can do a leap attack, and you can breathe fire. Skill points, you can basically choose to put all in on a particular type, or you can spread it out, and then when you evolve, you get the option of basically putting more points into different areas. So, as a hunter, your main priority is to try and take this monster down before it evolves, because it's only going to get more powerful, and it only gets more difficult as, obviously, the game progresses.
Playing as the monster, how do you actually upgrade? What do you need to do in order to reach your evolution stage faster?
Yep. So, basically, you'll see a bit of it in this gameplay footage. The monster has like a sixth sense he can call upon to see sort of packs of wildlife. So he can either go over there, kill the wildlife, like chow down on it, and it's going to feel like this little bar that pops up every so often. Once that hits max, you basically need to go and hide in a corner of the map, somewhere hidden away, because obviously you do have these dudes hunting you, and it'll take about 30 seconds for you to evolve into your next stage. When you've done that, obviously you get skill points and you're good to go and really, really ready to go on the offensive. Now, obviously, you got the 3 guys chasing you. If you down any one of those, you will get a load of experience as well. So there is the chance of going on the offensive right from the off. I know that's what I tried to do a couple of times, and more often than not, it does end in sort of game over. But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, what I was really happy to see was just how familiar playing as a hunter feels. It's sort of, you can see the Left 4 Dead influence, but it's a lot tighter than that. You know, it's not, the game doesn't have the AI systems where if you run off, it floods you with zombies, like, or an equivalent this time. It's, if you run off and you get yourself sort of lost in the jungle, you probably are going to be in trouble, but there's a little bit more scope to explore and sort of have some fun on your own, which is, I really, really liked.
From what we're just seeing here, it looks like in some ways the world you're in is just as dangerous as the monsters you're trying to hunt. I mean, what sort of things did you encounter as one of the hunters that were also threatening you? Yeah,
totally. It's one. I mean, you meet these like little dogs essentially, and they're not really that much trouble. But obviously, any noise you create is going to pinpoint on the map to roughly where you are to the monster, which usually ends badly for you. And there's also these little packs of birds that when you run past them, and this same goes for the monster, when you run past them, they'll make a big load of noise and your character will sort of be like, oh, what was that? And you know, that sort of lets you get positioned and get ready for the big battle. But the worst ones are these huge, like almost like crocodile, like big crocodiles that sort of sit in these little swamps. Now, if you take one of those down, you do get a big power-up, so everyone will get like a damage boost or a speed boost or a reload boost, something like that. However, they are basically as dangerous as a level 1 monster. So it does take a lot of teamwork and a lot of coordination to take it down, but if you do, it's definitely worth it. It's sort of similar to like League of Legends, like running through the jungle sections in League of Legends, which is really cool. Like they're mixing so many different styles with Evolve, and I think that's really what's going to give it its own identity when it hits later this year.
So with the hunters, we've seen the monster can kind of bring up this vision. You can see the outline of other creatures around. You can see the outline of the hunters in the distance, and kind of you avoid them or go after them. How do the hunters track the monster? What abilities do they have?
Yeah, so basically you've got the 4 hunters. The first 3 are sort of fairly standard archetypes. You've got engineer, sniper, and medic, sort of, and they all have both offensive and defensive capabilities. So you're never sort of, the medic isn't ever feeling like they're just standing around healing. They also have abilities to like really go on the offensive. Like they can sort of what can they do? They can shoot like a bullseye onto the body of the monster, and if you sort of hit that, you get like double damage, which is really cool.
I think you can see some of that in the trailer a bit earlier.
Yeah, but the really interesting class, and it's the one that takes a bit of getting used to, is the Trapper. So he's the dude with like a big hat and the sort of mutton chops. Now, what this guy's got is a harpoon gun and these little devices that basically track motion. So if you chuck a load of those down and the monster runs past one, it will give you a little blip and you can all sort of converge on the monster. He can then harpoon himself to the monster, which holds it in place, so you guys can all gang up on it. And the coolest and my favourite one, you would have seen it in this trailer, there's basically this dome that comes down.
Like a massive force field.
Massive force field. It's got an area of effect, and I think it runs only for about 25-30 seconds, but it feels like a lifetime, because what it does is stops the monster from getting away. If he's running off, chuck it down. This whole thing will come down from the sky, and obviously you have a very small window as the monster where you can get out of that. If you don't manage to, you're trapped inside. Now, what that means for the hunters is you are then trapped in an area with this monster going ballistic for for those 30 seconds. But if you're on the offensive and you're really pushing him back and sort of pushing his health away, it's a really effective way of sort of downing the monster quickly. So, I mean, that was my favorite. I think it's again, what makes it different from Left 4 Dead, what makes it different from any other co-op shooter I think I've ever played, is just you really have to manage your cooldowns. Everyone has specials. You know, the engineer can cool down a really devastating missile strike, which really only ever hits the monster if you're holding him in place with the harpoon.
Right.
You know, sort of as the assault guy, you can go invisible and get away and sort of trick the monster into following into sort of choke points. And it's all of these things are coming together, the cooperative play with the competitive play from the monster, and it's just creating an experience unlike anything I've really played before. And obviously it looks gorgeous. I mean, that much is clear.
It also looks quite nasty. I mean, you look at the monster now, he's clearly taken a huge amount of damage. It really shows on him, doesn't it?
It really shows. It gets really, really intense. I mean, if you die, you're not out completely. You get 3 respawns, which basically stick you back on a dropship if someone can't get to you and revive you quick enough. Dropship takes like 2 minutes to come back in. So I found myself in a situation where it was me and another guy, and we're basically alone in this jungle trying to hide from this monster, waiting the 2 minutes out for our 2 teammates to get back in, and it was horribly tense, but absolutely amazing, obviously.
So towards the end of this trailer now, anything else that people should know about the game?
Just Evolve, you know what, it is a new IP, but it's definitely worth your time. It's coming out later this year. We're still waiting for a full release date confirmed, but if you can get your hands on it, if you can just watch as much gameplay footage as possible, this is going to be the multiplayer game everyone is talking about.
Definitely.